So in this explainer, we're going to dive into a really powerful ancient strategy. And honestly, it might just be the superpower you need to get through our noisy modern world.
Okay, let's just jump right in with a question that, well, it might challenge everything you've been taught about being polite. Is ignoring people actually a superpower? I know, it sounds totally counterintuitive, but the source material we're exploring today argues that it's one of the most effective tools for success. To really get this, we need to look back to an ancient strategist, Acharya Chanakya. Now, the core idea is super simple, but it's also incredibly profound. Your personal energy, your focus, your time, your emotional bandwidth, that is your most valuable and most limited asset. The real question is, are you protecting it? And that brings us to the main event, strategic ignorance. The key phrase here is intentional disengagement. See, this isn't about being rude or just passively letting things happen. No, this is a conscious, deliberate choice to refuse to spend your energy on things that just don't serve you or your goals. Chanakya himself put it pretty bluntly, and this quote, wow, it just hammers the point home, doesn't it? Every single minute you spend in some pointless argument or defending yourself from negativity, that's a minute you've literally stolen from your own life, from your own potential. It's not courage, it's just a really bad investment.
So that's the why. Now let's get into the how. The source material actually lays out 8 really practical habits for mastering this skill, and it all starts with the foundation.
And this right here perfectly illustrates that foundation. You've probably heard this before, but it's so true. Life is only about 10% what actually happens to you. The other 90%, the part that really defines your success and your happiness, is all about how you choose to react. So mastering your own mind isn't just a good idea, it's the first and most critical step. Okay, next up are 3 pillars for building self-respect. First, you've got to master the word no. It's simple. When you're too available, you just risk being taken for granted. So setting firm boundaries is absolutely crucial. The second pillar, stop over-explaining everything. Look, if you're right, let your actions and time prove it. Constantly trying to justify yourself can actually make you look weak. And finally, the source calls for strategic toughness. The metaphor here is so sharp. Straight trees are cut first. What that means is you have to avoid being so agreeable and so submissive that you become an easy target. The next habit is all about focus, and the source uses this fantastic metaphor, Arjuna's eye. In the ancient story, the archer Arjuna was asked what he saw. Others saw the tree, the leaves, the sky, but Arjuna, he saw only the eye of the bird, his target. The point here is crucial. Stop getting distracted by all the little battles and keep your eyes locked on your main goal. Now, these last habits are all about building an internal fortress, to protect your inner peace. First, using silence as a weapon. This just means letting your success and your actions be the only answer you ever give to critics. Second is practicing emotional detachment. This is about letting go of old baggage, past trauma, social judgment, so you can travel light. And finally, you got to develop selective hearing. This is a conscious choice to be deaf to negativity. The source makes such a powerful point here. If you refuse to listen to it, it has zero power over you. So what ties all this together? Well, there's this powerful concept from economics that applies perfectly to our social lives, the scarcity principle. It's a kind of bonus idea from the source, and it explains how strategic ignorance can actually increase your perceived value. Think about it, the more you talk, and the more you explain yourself, the more your value actually decreases. In a world of constant noise and oversharing, what happens when you're always available, always talking, always explaining your every move? You become common. Abundance lowers value, but scarcity increases it. So to be respected, the source says you have to become a limited edition. So how do you do that? Well, it's simple, but that doesn't mean it's easy. Speak less and listen more. Let your actions do all the talking. And really understand this. Sometimes your absence can be way more impactful than your presence. This is really the art of making your time and your attention a valuable, scarce resource. But look, trying to put all these ideas into practice by yourself can be really tough. So the source material also points to an example of a toolkit you can use to apply these principles, but within a community. So the platform mentioned in the source is called MeroNep. It's presented as an example of a space designed for this kind of focused growth. According to the source, it's a knowledge hub, a global network, and it has community resources, all inside an environment that's intentionally kept politics-free. And that ties right back to the whole idea of avoiding those draining small battles so you can focus on what really matters.
Ultimately, the path that's laid out in the source material is about a fundamental transformation. It uses this really powerful metaphor. It's about moving from a sheep who just follows the crowd and gets drained by all the negativity to a lion who leads with focus, with strength, and with strategic command of their own energy.
So let's end with a final question for you to take with you. Looking at your own life, your work, your interactions, what is one small draining battle? A pointless argument, a piece of criticism, a negative thought loop? What's one thing you will consciously choose to ignore this week so you can focus on what truly matters?